Comfortably Numb. It's Sanctuary of Reality, my comic review series. Time now for Cerebus issue 198, the 48th chapter of Mothers and Daughters. Cerebus finds a letter from Jaka by the front door. He reminds Dave that he was to make Jaka happy to stay with Cerebus no matter what. And Dave tells him to just read the letter. In doing so, Cerebus hears an intermittent creak, but keeps reading at Dave's insistence. In it, Jaka talks about how much she loves Cerebus, and having met Joanne, realizes that his happiness, that she wants so much, lies with their neighbor and not with her, and she's merely keeping him a prisoner, and can't imagine being with anyone else ever. She begs him to forgive her, and ends the letter. Hearing the creak again, Cerebus thinks it's the bed where Jaka must be having revenge sex. He storms in and finds the bed empty. Cerebus, confused, heads into the other room, discovering the creaking noise is coming from the sound of Jaka's dead body hanging from a noose. Cerebus is agonized, screaming in protest at the loss of his one true love. Now on the surface of Pluto, Dave asks if Cerebus gives, and he claims he does. But Dave knows better. Dave makes an analogy between Pluto and Cerebus, how it shares its atmosphere with its moon of Charon sometimes, and how he wanted Jaka to be his Charon. Removing everything about Jaka that Cerebus disliked was still not enough, since Cerebus's inner nature remained. Cerebus tells his creator to shut up, but Dave retorts by punching him in the face and knocking him across the icy landscape, yelling at him to listen for once in his effing life, admonishing him for what he did to both Jaka and Joanne. Dave is running out of time and needs to wake him up to the problems with himself. Since the fear that yelling and hitting bring will soon wear off, Dave needs to get his message across to him in a way that will leave a lasting impression on the aardvark. He proceeds to focus on Cerebus's right eye. Cerebus has a small bump on the underlid that is swollen and red and painful. Dave draws upon his own experience in life and proceeds to prepare a scalpel and a syringe to operate on the bump. Will this operation hurt? Oh yes, it will. You might think this story is merely an imaginary tale of what would have happened if Cerebus and Jaka had married. And for the most part that's true. However, when Joanne returns, spoiler, during Rick's story, she will have had a couple who lived next door in place of Cerebus and Jaka. She doesn't know Cerebus, but she did have a couple who are familiar characters to us, who filled in the void left from Dave inserting Jaka and Cerebus into her neighborhood and then removing them after the story no longer existed. So they fill this void. Who are these two characters? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, or rather read, because it's all told to us and we don't actually see them on panel. But it's pretty interesting when it does actually occur, so look forward to it. Injury to eye motif is actually a very real thing in comics, or at least back during the crime era, pre-code stuff. Dave's right. When I think about this issue, my mind focuses on the close-up of Cerebus' eye and what's being done to it. Even though there's a lot of text on the page, it's that close-up shot, that one panel per page, that really sticks out in my mind. It's the lasting image that remains with me. It's like the forest for the tree. Well, this is like the tree for the forest. It definitely leaves an impression on the reader, or at least it did on me. This is actually a very shocking issue. The sight of Jaka's dead body, the stuff that happens to Cerebus's eye. This is kind of like a Twilight Zone episode in tone, really. It's dark, but with a purpose. This isn't really morbid for morbid's sake. Dave is trying to get his point across to his creation, and the kid's gloves have to come off in order to try to reach him. And he reached me, at least. Next time, post-op Plutonian plotting.